Hello, Andra. Welcome to the Bellis Mind podcast.
Hi, pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. From my experience working or kind of being with the founders, I see that lots of founders, their first idea is marketplace. And I noticed that building a marketplace is super tough compared to SaaS or AI even now, because there are so many parties involved, like demand side, supply side, and then there's logistics, payment, all this stuff kind of, there are so many players. So my question is that why did you choose marketplace for your own startup?
Actually, when I first came up with the idea of Tingit, which is a repairs platform or repairs marketplace, I didn't think about the business model at all. It first came as an idea or as a frustration that I would be able to solve with technology, and just it simply happened that way that it became a marketplace because that's the most obvious model for this kind of thing, to connect consumers and repair specialists basically into one platform that didn't exist before in a way that we imagined. So that's why we chose marketplace. And in our case, it's perhaps a little simpler than the traditional C2C marketplace, where the supply and demand really play a big role in terms of what the percentage should be of each and what's the dynamics. And in our case, because our suppliers, meaning the repair specialists that provide this kind of service, they are professionals. So we need a tiny bit less of them than we would need in a regular C2C marketplace.
But from your experience, kind of, do you agree that marketplace as a business model is a bit tougher compared to other kind of SaaS or other type of businesses?
Actually, it's a little hard for me to answer that because I never worked at the B2B SaaS
Okay.
company. So for me, any challenge is just a fun thing to crack, you know. So it's regardless of the model. I also used to have a fashion brand, so direct to consumer brand that involves everything from manufacturing to wholesale retail, and that was also tough. And everybody said that having a brand is super difficult. So marketplace is just another iteration of that.
And the, kind of your kind of like personal story to Tingit, is it that so were you involved in fashion and then you kind of somehow switched kind of to Tingit, or how was it?
Yes. So I think the key thing about my career is that from very early days out of university, I studied law, never worked as a lawyer, and right out of the university, I realized that I like building my own things, and from there I started. I had a wellness business. I had a magazine, a cinema stand. So a lot of different things, but the one thing that unites them is basically solving these mundane problems with technological solutions. So in terms of fashion, yes, for over 12 years, me and my partner Robert, we had a direct-to-consumer fashion brand, which was ready to wear and also bespoke clothing. And we learned so much, and we know everything about fashion industry, about how the business operates, what the good sides, what are the dark sides. And it was only natural that we pivoted basically from just having one brand into the full technological solution with Tingit.
So kind of so like pivot like Tingit is a pivot from the previous startup, as I
Yeah,
noticed.
we did not continue with the fashion brand because you if you want to make a fashion brand truly global, it's a whole new set of operations and capital needed. And we saw that this has actually much bigger potential to scale much faster. So that's why we chose this over the previous one.
Okay, great. I think it will be nice if you can pitch what Tingit is and like who are the main kind of customers and what are the value propositions for the users and also for kind of the repair shops.
Yes, of course. So perhaps not a pitch per se, but just I'm very excited to share the vision what we wanting it to be. So it's in the future we imagine it as this one place and one word that people remember for anything they want to repair, anything they own, and maybe it's completely broken, maybe it needs just a little pick me up, right? So Tingit in a way changes the way we interact with our possessions, the way we see them. So maybe previously, if your blender is broken or if your shoes don't look as new, you just throw them out, or didn't give it a second thought. But now with Tingit, what we do, we give your items another chance. So it's so easy and so simple to book any kind of repair or refreshment service, basically. So that is a big challenge to solve, but I'm super excited about that because the world needs this kind of service. The world doesn't need any new clothes or any new night items, basically. But to maintain something that you own, I think it's a great vision to have.
And how is the competition? Because from my experience, I was working with one sustainability accelerator kind of 3 years ago, and we had Fashion for Change project, and we had lots of startups working in this space. But somehow, if I look at them now, almost 99% of them are like disappeared from the market for some certain reasons. So how do you see the market now?
Speaking about the purely fashion repair startups that existed, what I saw from the beginning of my research in this field is that many of them actually focused on B2B sales and B2B product. So meaning that they would integrate with the brand, let's say, and would provide this kind of service. We took a completely different approach. We went straight to consumers, and that's part of the strategy that Tingit has. Because I believe when you win the hearts of the consumer, then you can go to, for example, marketplaces, secondhand marketplaces, and pitch them the option to integrate with your solution, which is basically API integration, right? So because secondhand marketplaces is the number one place where this need for repair arises, so it's a natural place for us to be, right? So that's our next step when we grow as a product, basically. So I think that kind of different approach differentiates us from many of the solutions that kind of died or went down. But from the ones that still exist, I think the main difference is that we, from the very beginning, from the get-go, we knew that we will be multi-category and multi-country. So fashion is just the first step for us as well. And as I've mentioned, we want for people to have this peace of mind that they can fix anything at Tingit, right? In the future. Now it's just fashion, it's shoes, clothes, bags, and accessories, and in certain cases, luggage. But in the future, if your Dyson hairdryer breaks down, and if you have a bicycle that needs a new seat, for example, there will be Tingit that will help you to organize this kind of thing. So this is essential for us, and I haven't seen any competitor at least aim for that. And also cross-country operations, which I truly believe it's essential for making the operational side of this marketplace super efficient, and also even have pricing arbitrage between countries, for example, where labor cost might be less than in another country, or one country might lack a certain specialist and another country might have.
It's just kind of out of curiosity. So, because for example, if I repair something, then I would repair something which is expensive, and if I buy it from very good brand, so isn't kind of that those big brands are offering this repair services, or not really?
If we're talking about luxury fashion and most premium luxury brands, yes, sometimes they offer, not all, but many of them of the brands that most people know, they do. But the thing is that you cannot really organize this type of repair online. You have to go in person, so you have to spend your precious time to physically going into that store and then managing everything. And also, when they pick your item, it usually takes from 4 to 6 months and beyond. So you are basically without that item for that much time, because they send it to a specific location, right? And it takes time, and they never tell you how long it's gonna take. So we offer same kind of service and same kind of quality assurance as those brands, just much faster.
That's great. I think it will be amazing if we can see the product, so like a live
Mm-hmm.
demo of what it is.
Yes, of course. So I'm happy to do that. So let's share the screen and let's go to Tingit. So here, when you open, this landing page is also country dependent. We now operate in Lithuanian and France, but this is an English version just for those who don't speak either of these services, and you can just see the starting point where will you start your submission of the repair request, and also you can easily see before and after. There's a video guide for people who want to see how that actually works. But basically, it's just 4 steps, right? So you upload a quick video or a picture. Actually, you get your quote from the service partner, and you can pay for that order. You then get the shipping label immediately via your email, and then you can drop your item in the parcel terminal, because that's the easiest way to organize your shipment. And then you just forget about it, and you come back only when your repair is done and it's back into your original shipment place. So let's organize a shoe repair. I have a certain pair of sneakers that I had for many years, actually, and I already tried this repair service quite a few times, like maybe 3 times, and I do it like once a year. So very simple, add videos or photos. This is a little guide for people to see how to take pictures and videos. They can explore that. You just simply tap to add, right? And I have a few pictures of my sneakers, which are nice off-white sneakers, and they are like, I really like them. I want to preserve them, but they got really dirty, and they're actually their shoelaces are not that great. So I will just write a comment that always helps to the service provider to decide what kind of service they need. So clean the sneakers and change shoelaces. And you can leave no comment, but it always helps if you do. So I will just write that. I will leave my name, email, just the official, and I will write this one. It's just a sample number, and that is it basically. And that takes a minute if you type faster, and you now wait for the quote to arrive. I actually did the same submission for the purposes of this demo a bit earlier, so that I can show how it looks like, and we can go through this process. So when you submit an item, you basically get this type of email, just confirming that you got your request, that we got your request, and then you just wait for the order. And once the offer is done, so meaning the service repair reviewed your submission and decided on the set of services that they can offer, you will get this type of email. Here is your repair quote, right? And to complete your order, you simply accept and pay the quote. So we can just go there, and everything else happens in the platform. And obviously this sort of interface can easily be done on the desktop, but the most simple and easy way is actually to do that on mobile. And at this moment, we don't have an app. It's a web app. So just basically go to the browser to tingit.com, and it's same simple process, right? You just upload through the camera that you have on the phone, and you don't have to do anything on the desktop. So what we have here is the offer for the shoes that I submitted, and they say please note that after cleaning, suede parts may slightly lighten in some areas, right? So they left a comment that correlates with what I asked, right? So there is this essential package of the full cleaning of shoes and new shoelaces as I requested. And I might also chat with the repair partner if I want to change something, if I want to remove, for example, the shoelaces service request, so that, my cart is smaller, for example. And here I can see the estimated repair time is 10 business days, and the quote expiration is 14 days. And then I can simply do accept, and basically it goes to the cart, and then I can proceed to checkout. And here I can choose the shipping option, and Omniva is the price for both ways, so there and back. And then I will just find the terminal, I can choose whichever, and I will proceed to the payment page. I will not complete the payment for this
Not do that.
example, but basically when I pay for this, I will be immediately presented with the shipping label, both in this screen and in the email, and then I can just go with the packaged item and just submit the code that I got for Omniva terminal. Here in Lithuania, France, there are different shipments offers, and I will just send out the parcel. So, and I will receive emails about the process of the whole repair throughout the way. And when the item is done and repaired and it's on its way back to me, I will get notified. I'll just need to pick that up.
Wow, it seems super smooth and easy. So what happens in the backend for who sets the price, and kind of how will the repair shops have dashboards where they can also see the request, or yeah, or how it all
Yes,
happens?
they have a completely independent platform that is dedicated purely to them, and it's closer to like a CRM platform for repairers.
Mhm.
And we also in the future expect to make it a full-fledged CRM platform that they can use fully for their own needs. Even now, they can actually onboard their own clients onto the platform, and they can put their services and they can put their prices as they see fit, as they need to. In the future, they will be able to see all the data that went through them, for example, and see how fast are they with providing offers. They can say that they're on vacation and things like that. Simple tools, but apparently there is no such tool existing. So, for example, in France, we have over 60 partners already, and they are all super happy with the fact that they can facilitate payments and shipments through our platform very simply and easily. And that's a very good value proposition for them.
And do you charge them for the usage of dashboard, or no?
No, not yet. We now just charge a commission on every repair that is done. But
Okay,
we will
okay.
be. That's one of the monetization strategies for sure when we have a big enough network.
Yeah, kind of my question was, next one is that you mentioned France.
Mhm.
Why did you choose France?
Many reasons. Very good question, actually. I get that a lot. But one reason is because society of France is very mature in that sense, meaning that they have inner sense of responsibility towards their item. And I see that not just fashion, and fashion is specific because they have so many heritage brands in France, let's say Hermes, Chanel, Saint Laurent, and brands like that, right? So people have a lot of these items there and they don't deem them precious. So meaning they carry those items every day, and those items get worn and they need maintenance basically. And you would not throw away this kind of luxury item, right? So it's natural need that occurs in that society when they have, I would say, definitely more than average of luxury items per country. Another part is that their government is incredibly proactive in keeping the sustainability efforts at the top of their minds and then at the top of their initiatives. So, for example, France has a very important initiative which is called Bonus Réparation. It's a repair bonus program that basically means that people get subsidies for fashion repair specifically. So from 10 to 60% of each item they can claim as a discount, basically. And it's a significant discount if they bring many items or if they do that often. More than half they can save just because the government has this initiative, which has a budget of, if I'm not mistaken, around 150 million euros. And then the third part is that our neighbors here in Lithuania, Vinted, which is the number one secondhand fashion marketplace, right? It was the first market for Vinted to crack. And also we have a lot of parallels with that whole process. And just because of the fit with the society, I think, and with the offering that we have, we see the kind of footsteps that we can take in that as well.
Yeah, I'll come back to the marketing part, but kind of like going back for a second about the product, is that why did you name it Tingit? Kind of how did you come up with the name Tingit?
Yeah, also a couple of reasons. Tingit in Lithuania meaning you're being lazy. So meaning if you're too lazy to do it yourself, we can do it for you. That's one reason. But actually this one, the funny thing is that this was the only after we booked the domain. And the main reason is because it's almost a mirror word. So it's both staying from both sides, right? And we got the .com domain, which is huge for a startup, right? So it was incredible how we managed to do that, but it's super easy to remember, looks good on the logo, and then yeah, it means a good thing in Lithuanian for us.
Okay, that was interesting one. And also, I noticed that you guys have a very good design and very good taste in the logo and kind of in the web page. So, what's your overall thinking about the design and who does all this design work for you guys?
No, thank you. That's a really nice compliment because we really put a lot of effort into that, and I'm really happy that it shows. I have to admit that I'm kind of a design police and grammar police as well. So for me, it's super important. I obsess over the details a lot, and I have a lot of opinions about product and classic founder that stands behind the shoulder of a designer. But I think what brings all of us to that point of obsession about the design and user experience is that most of our team comes from consumer products. So everybody in our team worked on consumer products, and it's very different than B2B or enterprise products that, they just need to function. They just need to work well. But we as a team, I think, understand very well the feeling that the brand needs to bring and the vibes that you need to show with the product if we want to aim at consumers. And that's why it is super important for us.
Yeah, like especially now with the AI, where like there are so many kind of new startups coming in. The only thing which really makes it unique is the design and the user experience. So if the user love it, then that's kind of amazing. And we can see that big companies, OpenAI, or others are buying these design agencies, for billions. So that's a good thing. Okay, like going back to the market. So like which countries are you being present now?
We are now fully operational in Lithuania. Lithuania was the first one as our sandbox home-based market. And then in January, we opened in France. So we are now fully operational in France as well. And it doesn't matter where in France you are. If you want to make a submission, it's going to work because we work with parcel terminals, and we would automatically match you with the best service partner that is perhaps closest or has the best experience in terms of what you need to do. And another thing that we are now quietly experimenting in is actually opening supply side of the marketplace in Poland, because Lithuania has, as a small market, has a quite limited supply of service providers, the ones that can repair items. So we are very excited that we signed a few deals already in Poland, and we are working on the shipment route between Lithuania and Poland, and then even customers from Lithuania, they will be able to get perhaps their item repaired better or faster than they would have in here, just because of the wideness of the network in Poland.
Could you please share kind of like what is your methodology for choosing kind of a country for expansion, either for supplier part or for the consumer part? And like what are the steps, that you take in terms of practical things that you evaluate which one to enter?
Yes, it depends. As of now, since we now work in fashion category, it is important to consider the overall health of the country and, let's say, GDP or things like that. Just, it needs to be enough of the items that are worth repairing in that sense, meaning that they're usually a little bit more valuable items. But I would say in our experience, anything that is over 100 euros, it's easily worth repairing. So we see that from the consumer behavior, right? If that's less, they would consider for different reasons. For example, emotional attachment because they like it very much. But anything above 100 euros is worth repairing. So the country that has a lot of these items would be obviously a good candidate. Another thing, as I've mentioned, is just the mindset of the society. And we see that in Nordics, we see that in Benelux countries, actually, a lot of countries in Europe, most I would say, would fit that bill because there's so much that European Union in general is doing towards sustainability and zero emissions and things like that. So we don't discount any country in Europe, actually. It's a matter of priorities, how fast we can expand and what makes sense for us at that stage, basically. Of course, any startups, perhaps vision and goal would be expand to the US. That's a different topic. US has different challenges and it's a bit early for us right now, but we definitely have that in the horizon as well. It just needs to be a little different value proposition than sustainability.
And I saw that like you have been to the US recently. So what are some like learnings that you saw in the US, which could work or could not work for Tingit?
I met with quite a few venture funds in there, and it was just starting to build those bridges between us and the United States. I didn't have to go to fundraise for this round, for example, because it takes time and it's just good to establish those connections and relationships. So what I've seen there, and I've met a couple of VCs that are very famous there and very well known for amazing track record that they have. What I saw from their potential pipeline just blew my mind because they truly live 50 years in the future. In comparison to Europe, what is evaluated in here and what pipeline goes in there, it's insanely different. And they fully live in this post AI revolution world where you see just artificial life forms exist. You see solutions that you would not even dream in your wildest thoughts. Just a very simple one. I truly saw a demo of a device that speaks with mushrooms. So it translates the mushroom signals into the human language. So I don't know what to even say about that, but it just shows the level of startups that operate in that environment. It's super inspiring. It's amazing. And also shows how American VCs, they do have tremendous, potential of that pipeline and the ideas that come there. And I think Europe has a lot of things to do so that we don't lose these talents because many of those talents actually are from Europe, but they are setting their eyes first on the US for many reasons. But yes, it's a lot to learn from and just the speed of the whole process and how they evaluate startups, how they communicate with startups. It's very clear. There's no doubt if they're interested or not, even after first meeting, it's going to be clear, In total, usually they have 3, at most 4 meetings before giving you a term sheet, So one meeting will be initial. Another meeting will be nearly IC meeting with different partners. And then the third, you might be presented with the term sheet and that's it because they value the time so much and they expect the same speed of executions from you as well.
But did you have some kind of FOMO that, okay, let's just leave Europe, let's just go to the US because it's at next level and you really want to be, with the shiny stars there, kind of why to waste your time in
I
Europe?
did.
Or
I have to say, but I always do have this FOMO whenever I visit US because it's just this tremendous speed and opportunity that you see. But the grass is never greener, there are different problems and just setting up and it's so expensive and to build your own network from the ground up, it takes, a different kind of challenge. But I think, especially Eastern European or CE region startups have this amazing advantage of, since they are coming from relatively smaller countries, they have this insane hunger to just go very fast after ideas and after opportunities. So when they move out very quickly of their home market, they can try a few bigger European countries and then go straight after the US. And then US, they will present them with opportunities that are non-existent here in Europe. And then everybody wins.
yeah, because like from my experience, I haven't been to the US, but when I go to Nordic countries or like Germany, France, and let's say like UK, you actually kind of, I also get this FOMO that they're better than Eastern European countries in some sense, because the market is bigger, more opportunities are there, but also you have access to really good experts. Because, for example, you have people coming, like flying in there, but not kind of flying to Riga or Vilnius or any Eastern countries. So I can see kind of how different it will be if you go to the US. So it's like will be extra FOMO. Yeah,
Yes,
but
that is true.
and so, like, moving on to the sales and marketing, let's assume that, okay, you choose France as your country to go next. And so, what are the practical marketing and sales kind of steps that you do before a big launch there? Or, or how do you launch in France?
It was a lot of trial and error as well. And one thing about doing a startup in Europe is no secret to anyone who did that here, is that you have to spend really a significant portion of your time and energy in localizing the market, because Europe has so many nuances, in cultural nuances, and also language barriers and things like that. So when we were preparing to launch France, we just simply used the localization service, and we converted the website into French language. And then we were so surprised that in the first few days of launching, like, nothing is converting, and we are thinking, like, why? And then, just a funny example, we immediately actually hired a French country manager, so a native speaker who actually can review everything, because maybe we were too arrogant in the beginning in a way, so that we thought we can do it ourselves. But it's literally, when a localization service translates and nobody with the native tongue reviews that, you can get really funny situations. So, for example, for us, and French language especially has so many nuances. So, for example, they translated the button back, which is a very standard and frequent button, as the back of a human. A back in here. So such a slight difference, and the automation can never capture all those things, and then, naturally nobody would convert. They would think this is a scam website. So just a funny story there, but we proceeded very quickly to fully localize with all the nuances. And then we, for a test that we wanted to do, we simply engaged in very classical resources, so like Meta ads, Google ads. And since we knew that in Lithuania, for us, influencers work best, we started looking for influencers as well, because user-generated content in that sense, and in fashion and repair, showing before and after, really works the best. So we, as of now, it's what converts best for us.
Okay, so it's more of like kind of influencers are making video content for Tingit
Mhm.
then. So do you see some differences between Lithuania and kind of like France in terms of marketing or consumer mindset?
Yes, I do. And also, that's why we have to run two separate flows of marketing materials, and how we produce the ads and the design. So French people have a very specific aesthetic, and I can't put them all in one bucket, but it's quite evident, the cliche French style, which is this effortless, very clean, very je ne sais quoi type of thing. So they expect ads and visuals that are super clean, very classy. Has to be like, what do you call a good taste, And it's just a feeling that you get when you iterate with the ads. So, for example, the concept of ugly ads, which is very famous, let's say in TikTok or American type of ads, they would not go in France, because they do not appreciate this kind of visuals, the kind of trashy, a bit more, or like mismatched visual elements, for example. But Lithuania has more space to be playful, I would say. Playful in a way that we can have bolder ideas in here, and people react to them well. And also we can go with the humor level much deeper. And it might be just because we don't fully grasp the local nuances yet. And we might move in there, once we have a bigger team, for example, in France, and a native team that produce the ads. It's totally possible. But for us as a foreigners that want to make French people feel that this is their product, we need to follow the pattern of, what they deem to be beautiful.
And do you see kind of France as a spot where it opens other doors to the kind of like neighboring countries, or like France is a unique country and then it doesn't really work in Spain, the learnings from France or let's say Italy?
I think the neighboring countries will be different enough so that we will need to learn everything from the beginning. Let's say Germany is like, we have our eyes as the next target there. It's not going to be very soon, but we see the demand potential in there as well. But it's going to be very, very different. But France is a huge country. We have so much potential in there, both in terms of supply and demand, and also if you're talking about different categories. So France has a marketplace called Back Market, which is insanely huge, right? And it's related to electronics and refurbishment, right? So they are very familiar and used to this type of marketplaces. And Vinted is number one, not just in fashion category in France, but overall in all commerce. So meaning above Amazon, above eBay, above everything. So that's incredible penetration of the market, right? So there, I think they just like this type of businesses.
But also kind of like what I see is that like some kind of marketplaces that when they enter some markets, it always kind of like sometimes it doesn't work as they want, So the market reaction is different, and then they actually either exit the market or they could just like kind of never touch that market again. So do you have some kind of thinking or KPIs or some numbers in your mind, for example, that you want to invest this much money in Germany? If it works, it works. If not, then we will not touch Germany for some time. Or or how much do you want to go all in Germany, for example, or other new countries?
Yes, I would say that in the beginning in France we didn't have that metric, but we will definitely have that for any subsequent country, and that for us would be in just quickly testing the demand side. For example, we would see the cost per submission, meaning how much it costs us to bring one person to upload the item that they want to repair, right? So we will give a set budget for this type of experiment, and then we will benchmark, because now we have a benchmark of Lithuania and France, and we saw how quickly we can bring down the price from the initial stage, which is going to be way higher than it should be, which is natural, right? So for the algorithms to work and for the product begin to convert. But for us to launch a country, we might need just a few service providers, actually. So we don't need hundreds. It's 5 to 10 will be more than plenty to launch any country, basically, because they will have enough of a scope of services to start getting the repairs and accepting offers. So for us, it's a little bit easier in that way. But also we are moving towards open marketplace model, meaning that we will display all the listings because now we don't, but we see the need for just being fully transparent. And we want to bring that transparency into the whole repairs industry as such, because now when people want to repair something, they can't really get a comparison of prices or services because they have to physically go to some place and they get this one offer, and then it's very likely that they will spend their time to get another offer. And in our case, what we will do, we will, as a platform, we will do our best to present customers with multiple offers so that they can, choose for themselves what works best for them. Either they want it fastest, or they want the cheapest, or they want just the best value. So it's very simple as buying an airline ticket.
Yeah, what's the kind of communication, with the repair shoppers? Like, is it easy to kind of convert them, or are they kind of being against be listed on the Tingit platform?
Actually, for us was extremely easy to launch the supply side in France. We only had one freelance sales agent who basically just called them. He made a list from the top reviews of Google or different platforms where you can find them in France. And he just called them, and many of them simply were happy to join, as I've mentioned, for the simple features like payments and shipments, because they don't have it. But every provider in France knows how to use parcel lockers. They have label printers. So from technological perspective, they all super advanced in comparison to here, for example, in Lithuania, where it's a little bit more difficult. And I see this trend of repair partners that they're moving towards these younger generation hipster shops that employ new set of professionals, and it might even be like fashion students. Let's say if they know how to hold a needle, they can provide this kind of service. And also to add to that, we are truly considering doing C2C repairs as well in the future. So just letting anybody who wants to have a side business to onboard on the platform and just start offering their services.
Lots of expansion plans. That's amazing. So
Yes.
we arrived in our last session of the podcast. So I asked questions and I would like to have your quick responses. I saw like one of your LinkedIn posts about hiring people and kind of like talking about the people are the backbone of a startup and all these things. So from your experience hiring, firing, what has been your best hire and what has been your worst hire experience?
Oh my
Fire.
God, this is very, very tricky question. I can't easily answer that. We are so lucky in the sense that we were able to somehow gathering this incredible set of people. I would even say that they're way above our current stage of the startup itself, because most of them, they came from incredible businesses that are huge right now, and they left those previous positions because they wanted a new challenge. They wanted to start from the ground up, but above all, they were convinced by the mission, I would say. So they want to work for, at something that matters. That's something that changed the status quo, which is consumption, basically. So I'm not sure if I could even distinct one hire, because all of the hires actually that we had, and we have 13 people in total. Not all of them work full time. Eight people work full time, and the rest work half time. They are just incredible professionals and incredible human beings above all. So I didn't even have a fire yet, actually, because the team is so close knit and so tight that, and I think we picked very well in the beginning, and we didn't have that. It's not to say that it's bad to fire people if there is no alignment. I think the faster you do it, the better there is. Maybe we just got extremely lucky in that initial setup of the team.
Which is amazing. My next question is that what has been a piece of advice you got that turned out to be totally wrong?
Stay in your home market and figure out unit economics first before going into another market. I think this advice simply does not work when you're from a tiny country and you can't use and have the same product in Lithuania, for example, versus in France. There's immense difference between consumer needs and how they interact with your product. So that's definitely didn't work for us.
Yeah. And like from my experience working with some founders is that it's better to enter the toughest market as soon as possible, because if you wait, then things are changing, but also you just get lazy, staying in your home country. Because you can see some numbers and those numbers could be interesting, but biased numbers and then somehow misleading you to a different direction. My next question is that if you had to give founders a list of advice with 2 columns, hell yes, please don't. So what would you put in those 2 columns?
Oh my God, this is hard. Let me think about that for a minute. Hell yes is give enough weight to your gut, meaning that data doesn't always show everything that you need to know. Because as a founder, if you have a vision, that vision usually extends way beyond immediate plans. And if they clash with your vision, with your gut, you should just keep with what's in your head for the future, right? Because it's very easy to make decisions on the short term that will harm you in the long term. And hell no is if you're raising funds and if you choose the venture capital way of for your startup, do not go with any partner just because they offer money, because they have to offer way more than that, right? So it is a little bit, it's a cliche to say, but it is a little bit as a marriage. is, right? So you want to be with them 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. Well, hopefully, you exit sooner, but that's the whole idea.
And this is like a addition question because you mentioned investors. Do you have some kind of tips for the founders how to raise VC money, and what are some helpful tips that could help them to raise?
Yeah, so we are
And
now in this.
also,
Mhm.
and also, kind of, is it a good idea to raise like VC money at all? Maybe.
I cannot answer that because everybody has such different ways. For marketplaces, it's actually very hard to do otherwise because you have a lot of upfront investment for just a consumer for a product. It's very easy just to test out and see whether you can just be bootstrapped and profitable. So it very much depends on the product that you're building. But my advice, and since we are now in the trenches of raising our seed round, we raised pre-seed round last year. So we got 500,000 euros from full funds. So it was a decent pre-seed round when we had very little. And from the practical point of view, your storyline and the deck really matters. And it really pays off to think about that a lot and have a good design in general, just pleasing to the eye, because that's the first thing that investors see. And it's very easy to discount if they just don't like how it looks. Simple as that, it's such a simple thing to do. So that, but also when you get your foot in the door and you have meetings, let's say, it is this game of fake it till you make it. And you have to be really confident and not give out on challenging questions, for example, and just stick to your vision. And authenticity, I would say, it's the most important thing, right? Because it's very easy to tailor your pitch towards whatever is trending. And also the funny fact that I see now in conferences, last year, aside from AI, which is all the hype for the past few years, but a couple of years ago, all the rage was sustainability, right? And we were lucky because we entered kind of that train without even realizing that. But it's all about, impact businesses, right? And now this year, everything is about defense. And it's very easy to, just think, oh, okay, so I will just adjust my pitch to match somehow this defense thing. But it's not how it works. You have to stay authentic to that. And that's what makes investors see you in that, light of being like true to your product.
Yeah, like one of the advice that I got from a experienced founder, he said that when you're telling your like story to an investor, say it in a way that you have already made the success. So you're just saying how it happened. So just like very like that sense, so that they just got hooked and then they kind of believe in you. So
Yes,
that's something. My last
that's
question
a
is
great.
that what do you do on
Yeah.
the weekends?
I actually, since I have a young child, I try to spend as much time with him as possible, because life of a founder is always kind of 24/7, and it's never the time that I say, okay, I'm gonna take my time off. I'm not gonna check email. That I think in reality nowadays it never happens, right? You always kind of can check your email, and then when I do have weekends, I spend time with my family, but also I spend time thinking about zooming out and the future and the bigger things that we want to accomplish, because it's very easy to get stuck in your daily little things, and just it's important to allocate some time on thinking about the vision.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me, Andrea. And it was very nice having you here. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.